Let's play a game of death. It's exactly what it felt like, but as your temporary licensed therapist, we can sit down, get our feelings out, and try to work through all this together. My name is Paige, and welcome to the Mezco Weekly, episode 11. I'm going to be sticking with the main stuff for this week, and of course the focus is primarily going to be on that banana suit badass. No. I wish. Getting warmer. There it is. Yep, it's the 112 Collective Game of Death Gomez, or as the community has dubbed him so graciously. So on November 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Game of Death Gomez went up for pre-order. Now, this could be considered a secret drop. There wasn't an official announcement per se, but there was a few telltale signs that this was going to be coming. Now, one of the most obvious clues was the ad that they took out in the Doc Nocturnal comic book. This was the comic book that you would receive with your Doc Nocturnal figure. What you would do is you go to the middle of the comic book and you would see that there was a 2-page advertisement that revealed the new character, as well as some additional Slugfest merchandise that was going to be possibly showcased at a later time. To access this secret drop, there was going to be a QRC code, and what that did was direct linked you to the site page. Now, some collectors received their figures a little bit earlier than others, and naturally they tried to access the website page. But Mezco kind of pre-planned for this, and what they did was they stripped it of all the merchandise that were originally in the emporium. And then they replaced it with the under construction front page. This was also an indication that something was going to be on the horizon, but nobody actually knew when or what. So now the interesting point that was made was that some of the customers didn't receive their Doc Nocturnal packages, may not have known how to access the site because they didn't have that QRC code to access the page. So using my powers of deduction, I came up with this conclusion. This, I think, was part of a scheduled window that through a string of unfortunate events such as COVID, playing catch up with the releases, it kind of created a tighter rollout schedule, and that tighter rollout schedule created a few hiccups with this release. I think that the original plan for this was to ship Doc Nocturnal out to the collectors. They were going to wait a few days and give them a chance to enjoy the figure and then go through the comic book. And this would also allow people to all be on the same page and kind of level the playing field. So probably the big question is, was this release mishandled? From a collector's point of view, there's probably two ways that you can look at it. While people may not have liked the way that this release was done, in a sense, a majority of the collectors weren't notified, but this was probably the best way to handle it fairly. Some may not have liked that there wasn't an official announcement, but using this format did allow collectors to log on to the website and have an easier transaction experience. Now, a little bit of personal bias is in here, but I've said this before, I've never been a fan of countdown clocks or pre-order announcements. Not in the sense of wanting fellow collectors not to have an opportunity to own a figure. I just think it allows for people that don't have true collecting intentions to make the experience harder for people who do want to get figures. Now, the pre-order did go up at 1 p.m. and it lasted until about 1:51, so that's almost an hour. So there's a very small window to catch this release, but it was achievable. It's not as bad as some of the other figures that I've seen that have lasted between 3 and 10 minutes. Someone is bound to make the legitimate argument that there are people out there who have kids and have jobs and lives, or that this was a secret drop and it would not have been able to purchase this item because of those factors. I do think that Mezco took this into consideration because one of the safeguards that they put into play to combat this and to give people a little bit extra time was to actually really enforce the 1 per customer limit, which definitely came into play later. So once this order converted to the waitlist status and orders began processing, members started receiving their confirmation requests. Some also started getting cancellation notices. That's right. Any customer that bought more than one on the same account started receiving those dreaded, "I hope you didn't and pre-sell those spares because we're taking it back. Email. Okay, let's be honest. If you've collected this line for any amount of time, you know that Mezco's been pretty lenient with this limit per customer policy. But this was marketed as one of those super limited, super exclusive releases. So the buying restrictions were bound to be a little bit tighter. So taking into consideration the single purchase restriction, the amount of time, and my website data gathering skills, I would say that this release has a much lower production count than your typical normal MDX Gomez offering. Yes, my little Mezconian naysayers, here's why. So again, taking in consideration the single purchase limit, waitlist convert time, and the QC cancellation proclamation, another reason I believe that this is a lower count is because traditionally MDX Gomez figures usually only average between 16 to 1800. Now there are other versions of the character, but all the counts are unverified, so let's just stick to the ones that we know. So Street Gomez has an estimated production number of 1800. Stealth Ops Gomez is also 1800, and Lone Roach has an estimated production number of 1602. So all of these figures, as well as others, sold out fairly quickly, and they had a 2 per customer limit. So by restricting it to 1 per customer, it would have given collectors a little bit more time to actually try to get this figure. This is also in addition to the number of people that actually knew about the drop because it wasn't advertised. That's a point that I'm about to make in a second. This is the reason why I say that the run is a little bit lower than your traditional MDX Gomez. If I had to take a guess, taking into consideration all the factors that I previously mentioned, I personally would estimate the count to be around 1200 to 1600. And this is where everything kind of ties together. So with a lower production number, I think Mezco took that into consideration and knew that there was possibly going to be some backlash for not enforcing their own policy. They also doubled down, and shortly after the item was waitlisted, Mezco began sending out these cancellation notifications to customers that bought more than one. Again, this levels the playing field and allows for individuals that missed it and joined the wait list a little bit later an opportunity, as opposed to not being able to have one at all. Because I'm pretty sure anybody that's had a slight interest in this figure has gone on eBay, and you can actually see what it's been going for the last couple days. Shameful. Which is why I highly recommend joining a Mezco group. Now, there are plenty of them out there on Facebook, and they all cater to different collecting personalities. There are some that have some very knowledgeable, experienced, as well as some plugged-in members. These members keep the groups up to date in regards to news, information about releases, charging, shipping, and pre-orders. A group is also a chance to kind of network and build relationships with people that, over time, give collectors an opportunity to acquire these hard-to-find figures. It's also good to have that collector buddy or collector group of friends that when something does pop up important, they can just get in the little group chat and say, hey, go now. And you can go there without worrying about maybe a delay in emails or not being able to receive some kind of communication. It's just a nice little backup plan. So yeah, join a Mezco group. Make those connections by helping other collectors out, and I promise you'll not only find guys and girls that will take care of you, but you'll also meet and make some great friends. But not to be overshadowed by the limited release, some of the other badass items available in the Emporium for pre-order were the glow-in-the-dark skulls. It looks like they're expanding a little bit on the initial multicolored bag of skulls that they gave us a while back, and they decided to re-up with the 12-plaque Gofi glow-in-the-dark versions, which is advertised to fit most 112 bodies. Mezco also seems to be pushing towards army building with the tagline that they kind of used here. It says, build the undead radioactive army of your nightmares. Sign of things to come, possibly. I do know that someone loaded up the Shade Shoddy with this little line right here. Shipping notifications went out for this on November 9th, and tentatively these should be in hand. And correction, as of today, November 11th, people started getting these already in hand. Next up was the Knuckle Up and Buckle Up pin and patch set. For everyone collecting pins, this guy, you know that you have to have two more pins to add to your collections, as well as a new patch. I've never been a pin collector, but as these have been released, I've kind of gotten into it. I think one of my favorites is the COVID Gomez pin, the one with the little mask on his face. I like that one a lot. Shipping notifications went out for this on November 9th, and tentatively people should have these in hand by the end of the week. Followed up by the Baker's Dozen weapons pack. Don't worry, I'm getting to the Doc Knock Phantom pack. It's called a build-up, people. Yes, all the weapons that are going to get packed in here are going to be things like submachine guns, handguns, revolvers, shotguns, rocket launcher, combat knife, tack knife, machete, a pipe wrench. All of this wrapped up in a Second Amendment rights wrapping paper, tied up with a complainer's complimentary bow. I say that because there's already been some customer concerns that the price point for this pack was a little bit too high, considering it was all reuse. And I guess you could say it's a valid point, but I really don't think a lot of people realize that there are posts in the groups and on eBay where collectors are parting out these same weapons at the same price, but the price is per weapon. So for the 13 weapons that you're going to get for $30 plus shipping and possible tax, you can pay that, or you can pay the parted out price of $30 for one weapon. Let's let that sink in. I'm also sure that this and the weapons pack that we're going to be getting for the Hazard Squad Commander, it's kind of their attempt to test the market to see if there's a possibility that these standalone packs, such as alternative heads, hands, weapon effects, they're trying to see if this kind of stuff is going to actually go over well with collectors. I've said it before many times. I can actually see them doing possibly alternative clothing options. You never know. It's a possibility. I do know one thing. You never go full Barbie. But yeah, I've been talking about this for a while. Like anything, I think if the feedback is positive and they're making money off of it, I can definitely see them expanding these little add-on sets in the future. And finally, we have the Doc Knock Phantom Knights official membership pack. This kit is badass, man. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, D Amazing did a video review. He goes over pretty in depth about all the stuff that you're going to get with it. I'll make sure I put a link in the description below. I know there was some discussion about it being a little bit much, but for the price point, I think you're getting a unique add-on to possibly, I don't know if I should say this, top 5 Mezco figure of the year. And this look just gives you a third look for the character that you already have. I've seen a lot of kit bashers in the group. They've been going nuts with this. I think this week alone I counted 18 different looks. So it's just about expanding the character and giving you more options. I know a few people have said that the swag bundles, accessories, and weapons that they're kind of pushing onto us, it seems like it's going to this DLC-based kind of format. And I think the main reason that they're doing is to kind of cut down on the overall price. If this pack would have been incorporated into the original offering, it would have probably raised it at least $20 to $30 more from the original $112 price point. And that's really the purpose of add-on or options or features. Collectors have been voicing their concerns about price points and these swag attached bundles for a while now. And it seems like the company is trying to listen to people. They've actually kind of reduced the materials that they use for the last couple of months, and they put most of their figures in smaller size packaging with reduced amount of materials used by incorporating the shoebox packaging. And if we're being honest about everything, $30 is not a lot. Most collectors will go to a customizer and they will pay for aftermarket heads or customizing pieces for their figures, and they'll spend more than $30. So like I said, there has to be a balance between the company and then also the consumer. But in the end, it's just like anything from a company. It's a product offering that everyone has the option to purchase based on their own collecting needs. And again, of course, that's my line of thinking. It's just trying to show you guys a little bit of a different perspective to kind of help make collecting a little bit easier. We all know how quickly people can fall down the rabbit hole of negativity, and it just doesn't make it fun. So that's what it's really about, just collecting what you like and having fun. Some quick tidbits for you, like I told you before. Today, November 11th, most people have started to get their Baker's Dozen, the glow-in-the-dark skulls. Those should be shipping out. Knuckle Up and Buckle Up pin as well have been shipping. Today, Doc Knock began processing, so that should probably go out later this week. And I think 5 Points actually put up a pre-order for the Ultraman set. That looked pretty cool. You'll get Ultraman and a diorama. I'll make sure I throw some pictures up. And that's about it. I'm going to cut this short because I got to go to work in the morning, very early in the morning. So I hope that this video was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And just remember, they're toys. So just have fun.
I'm warning you. Next time it's gonna be glass.